Veterans, have you heard that the Congressional Budget Office is proposing to cut and in some instances terminate veterans' monthly compensation for 2024? Stick around. In this video, I'll explain. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dwayne Kimball, owner and founder of CAMD89 VA Claims Consulting, United States Army veteran and retired VA rating specialist. In today's video, I am going to discuss the proposed actions that the Congressional Budget Office is proposing to take, and in some instances, slash some veterans' compensation in 2024. Yes, I heard this a few weeks back, but I had to go out to the website, do some research. I had to go through, read it once, read it twice, read it 3 times, and I picked out some sections that I think you, the veteran, and even some of the veterans' family members should be made aware of, okay? So I have about 5 slides that I'm going to go through and talk through those slides so to give you a better understanding of these proposal changes and or cuts. Now, it might be hard to read these slides if you're on your phone. It'd probably be better if you have an iPad or if you're on your desktop, okay? So let's go ahead and get into it. Slide number 1. Here in slide number 1, this is the Congressional Budget Office website. I'll put this link in the description section of this video, okay? But basically it says reduce spending on other mandatory programs, all right? It was published December 7th, 2022. Again, I'll put the link in the description section so when you get there, when you click on it, you'll know you're at the right website, okay? Moving on, slide number 2. Now, in slide number 2, this is under the first section, okay? There's several paragraphs, but it's under the first section, so I wanted to start here. Okay, so I'm not going to read all the sentences and paragraphs, but I am going to highlight some of these, some information in some of these paragraphs. Okay, so it starts by saying, under this option, spending for certain large mandatory programs without dedicated trust funds will be reduced. Okay, then it goes on to say this option would reduce spending on 2 components of such spending that are projected to be the largest over the 2023-2032 period. Disability compensation paid by the Department of Veterans Affairs and Income Security Programs, okay? Now, it goes on to say for VA disability compensation, the reduction would be achieved by applying a means test. I know VHA use means tests when veterans try to get healthcare treatment. Applying a means test to VA disability payments, that is by limiting eligibility for households with higher income. All right. Now, if you go down to paragraph 2, it's going to get a little bit more interesting. You go to the second sentence. The change to VA disability compensation will reduce outlays by $253 billion or 17%. Reducing spending on income security. That's the second option, okay? So I'm not going to talk about that. So you can see they're trying to put numbers to if they cut veterans benefits based off this means test, which we'll talk about a little bit later, okay? How much money is going to save the government, all right? But they're not talking about other areas that they're doing spending that they can cut, all right? Now, moving on, slide number 3. Okay, now this is where it gets a little bit deeper. Okay, so it says option component. Under this option, VA means test, there we go with that word again, means test, all current and prospective recipients of VA disability compensation beginning in January 2024. So they're proposing this January 2024, but they're going to be basing the means test off of 2023. Something to think about. After that date, veterans will receive full payments only if their gross household income in the prior calendar year they're talking about 2023, was less than the inflation index threshold for that year. Now, you got to think about that inflation index threshold. When does that come out? All right. Disability benefits will be phased out as at a constant rate for veterans with income above the threshold. Now, I'm not laughing. You'll probably hear me chuckling because I just can't believe what I'm actually reading, okay? And it states for every additional $2 of gross household income, disability compensation will decrease by $1. Under that phase out, veterans whose gross household income was $170,000 or higher in calendar year 2023, talking about this year, who would have received the average annual payment would no longer, say it again, would no longer receive any disability compensation from VA in calendar year 2024. Now, as I went through this, what I didn't hear them say, hey, well, wait a minute. Even though these are proposals, if the veteran's household income is 170 in 2023, we're cutting. So let's just say if the veteran's household income for 2024 goes down to 100,000, are they proposing that the veteran has to go through the VA claims process all over again or approve? They have to go through and get those approved again? Or are they just going to reinstate? Okay? They didn't talk about that in this article, okay? Okay, so I'm going to keep going. Can't believe what I'm reading, but hey, they actually put pen to paper to it, all right? There would be no adjustment, this is the last sentence, it was next to the last sentence, there would be no adjustment in the income threshold for household size. So basically what they're saying, you can have 20 kids, okay, or 10 kids. They don't care. They don't care that you're going to need this extra income to take care of them and maybe college fund or food on the table. What they're saying, they don't care, all right? The current eligibility requirements and benefits will not change for the surviving family members of a veteran or service member, okay, just in case if they're deceased. Then in the second paragraph, the income threshold below which veterans would receive full benefits in 2024 would be set at $125,000. So if you make $125,000 or less, you're in the clear, okay? That threshold corresponds to 70% percentile of total household income for the entire country in 2019. I just think they added that in there for fluff. I'm not going to even go over that, okay? Now the last paragraph. For this component, gross household income is defined as income before deductions. Wow. So they're including FICA, Medicare, all these other deductions. They're grossing it. Okay. I'm not going to say I could see it in any instance, but they're not even going off the net. Before deductions, they're going right for the gross. Okay. Received by the veteran, his or her spouse. Whoa. His or her spouse. So they include both incomes. And any dependents in the prior calendar year. Income includes wages and salaries, as well as unearned income, such as Social Security benefits. So if you're a veteran, you retired from your military service, you're getting that check. You're getting that retirement check. If you're getting Social Security, they're going to count that check. And then any other income that you have coming in, unearned income, they're counting everything, investment income or withdrawals from a retirement account. Now, this is where I think that they're really going too far, okay? You have veterans maybe taking money out to pay for their kids' additional fees for their kids' schooling, home improvements, or medical condition treatments or whatever. Really? Man, I can't believe it. But it excludes VA disability payments. So they're not going to include the income for the monthly. They're not going to include monthly disability payments, okay? All right. Last sentence, household income would be used to determine eligibility rather than individual income because household income is more comprehensive assessment of all the financial resources available to a veteran. Wow. I can't believe what I'm reading. I just can't. Okay, now, this is the last part, okay? The last slide, I'm sorry. The effects, veterans and households with higher income will have less income after accounting for reductions in or elimination of disability compensation benefits. Don't mean to say. I think we got that was pretty much clear. Economic effects. In addition to having effects reflected in conventional budget estimates such as the one shown above, mean test and VA disability compensation could affect veterans' decisions about working, saving, and investing. You don't mean to say, okay? So, wow, that was a lot. And I cut it off because I've read that several times, but again, veterans, family members, this is just a proposal. But you need to be aware of this proposal. So if you're going to any veteran VA town hall meetings, any town hall meetings for the individuals that represent us in DC, you need to be talking about this, because nowhere in this proposal did they say, hey, veterans are receiving compensation for injuries that they sustain while on active duty, which they did say that part, for providing us with the freedoms that we enjoy. They left that part out, okay? So I'm gonna provide this link in the description section. Go through and read the entire article. It's gonna blow your socks off, okay? I went through it 2 or 3 times, and just reading it again made me a little bit more upset, okay? Because what they're saying is, oh, we're spending all this money elsewhere, but we're not gonna cut from that. We're gonna cut from the veterans that serve, that put their name on the dotted line to protect some of the things that we enjoy here in America day to day, okay? So I'm not gonna get too political on it, but I just couldn't believe that somebody actually put pen to paper and decided to say, hey, let's go and cut the VA disability compensation that the VA is paying the veterans, okay? So, again, go through it, read it yourself, let me know what you think, okay? And as always, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and don't forget to share this video with your fellow veterans. Thank you.